Hey guys, welcome to Spirit Pig. This is the show that explores how to live a fulfilled life. I'm Duncan CJ, and today I'm talking to Deepak Tailor. Two of the biggest things stopping people from doing what they want in life is not having enough time or not having enough money. So my guest today can help solve both of these things. He's the author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, How to Live for Free, and the founder of the UK's most popular freebie site, latestfreestuff.co.uk, which gets over 400,000 monthly visitors. It is one of the UK's fastest growing companies and has received huge media coverage from sources such as the Daily Mail, the Mirror, the Guardian and Forbes magazine. A recent study which I read on one of those articles has revealed that 2/3 of Britons who receive freebies or bargains said that they feel happy and cheerful for the rest of the day. Deepak, how does it feel to be responsible for sending happiness and cheer to millions of people around the globe?
It's probably my own fault, isn't it? It's exactly what I went out to try and achieve, and it seemed to have happened for once, which is brilliant, I think. But no, it's absolutely amazing. It's
What was the reason and the motivation behind writing your book, like How to Live for Free?
so the book was really trying to get a new angle, kind of a new audience of people that I couldn't reach with the website. So the website's very kind of mass market, but you need to be looking for this stuff. The book was kind of reaching out to this kind of different audience of people who are just trying to be kind of inspired into living for free, living differently, trying to save a bit of money. So that was the reason behind it. And it was really trying to be a positive book to try and like influence change in your life. And it seemed to work, just about.
Yeah, because I mean, I think on the one hand, you've got all the obvious things where, or like how to save money, how to do this for free. But one thing which I really got out of reading it was, it almost a lot of the things which we kind of almost think weren't possible. A lot of things we couldn't, think, oh, it's unachievable. Actually, whether you're getting it for free or just you just had really like clever concepts and ways to actually, like one of the ones I loved was this idea of like sailing around the world. Like this seems like an idea that is exclusive to you're gonna be a multi-millionaire. You've sold your business, you've retired. Okay, then you can sail around the world. But this isn't the case. Could you maybe just talk about? I mean, one of the things it was crewfinders.net. I think it was called. Like, what is this? What is this?
So crewfinders.net is probably the most mentioned kind of the one thing that people pick out of the book because they seem to like fall in love with it, like just like you said. And it really, what it does, it's like a kind of online marketplace which connects kind of rich yacht owners, the kind of traditional people who owns these yachts, to people who want to kind of help out these yachts, to kind of give like a helping hand. So to connect all these people together. And the idea behind the site is if kind of Mr. Rich who wants to get, let's say Richard Branson wants to get his boat from maybe the docks in Southampton and move it into the Maldives somewhere. He doesn't want to sit on the boat and go and do it himself. He wants to fly to the Maldives and then sail around the Caribbean. So what the kind of website does is he'll hire someone, put up a job listing on there saying, I need a crew to actually take my boat from Southampton to the Maldives, all expenses paid. He'll pay you a wage, he'll give you food, give you accommodation, obviously. You kind of help out with cooking or helping out with the kind of ship's maintenance or just like day-to-day kind of activities. And then that's it. You can use this website, just jump from location to location all over the world. And I've heard and I've seen people do it just over and over again. And I've got one of my friends who is currently in Fiji somewhere, travels around, just jumps from place to place, gets to meet people.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, that was just one example, but I mean, there's things from like living, accommodation, food, like yoga classes, gym memberships, and I mean, I think it really just opens up your eyes of actually what's possible if you're looking, and actually, was it fun writing it?
It was brilliant. Yeah, it was really interesting. So most of the kind of stuff in the book came from like 3-4 years of researching and maybe like 10 years of living my life of actually kind of Googling things, finding things out. And this kind of book was just accumulation of everything into one place. All the content I learned about, all the stuff I researched during the kind of the book when I was writing it and trying to kind of put everything into chapters and putting everything into kind of an area. But yeah, it was really exciting. It was brilliant. It was honestly brilliant.
What would you say some of the biggest, or maybe just like a couple of the biggest sort of takeaways or ideas or concepts? Because obviously the individual things, I mean, they're all great, but like how somebody reading this, like, I mean, one thing I was listening to a previous interview, and the guy kept on saying about like a paradigm shift and like changing your concept of what's possible. Was that one of the biggest things which you wanted people to get out of the book, or was it just to look at and see life in a different way of what is possible?
I think one of the things was actually changing people's mindset. Like you said, people just like you started the whole kind of podcast today, was people didn't believe it was possible. People expect to spend money. People don't realize you can even save like a small percentage of your money just by making kind of small changes. And that seems to, like, if you save like maybe £1, £2, £3 a day, it adds up to a lot at the end of the month or at the end of the year. And that was my main thing. Like, I don't expect people to go bin diving and dumpster diving and kind of traveling around the world for free, kind of inconveniently for some people. But as long as you can make one small change in your life, I think the book's beneficial to people. As long as you can take one thing out of the book, something that will change your life in one way or another, that would make me happy. So,
oh, amazing! No, I definitely got that out of it. With like, maybe taking it back just a little bit, like with starting up this website and doing all these things. I mean, because for example, like the website. I mean, it's creating a website which just gives people freebies. Like, this doesn't sound, if you were trying to pitch that to an investor, it doesn't really seem like it's going to make huge amounts of money overnight. But like, but obviously, I mean, it's turned into like an amazing business. But I'm quite interested in like your gut and instinct. Like, do you make a lot of decisions through gut, where if something just felt right, or did you have like a really strategic plan from day one, and knew like month by month what the plan was? Because there's just, from a personal position, personally, I quite like to know about, like, are you quite an instinctual kind of person?
So with the website, I didn't really have a plan at all. Like, you said, like, I had like a month by month, day by day, hour by hour. I did not have that at all. It was almost like a case of going with just gut instinct for the first 2 years, doing what I thought was right, not really having support from other people, didn't really have investors to fall back on, didn't have a mentor or anything. All I had really is Google to kind of research, and when I came into a problem, kind of look through there and then kind of research my way out of it. But the whole thing was really just kind of this idea of trying to save people money, trying to create this amazing resource which people could use to order free samples. And I knew if I could get a big enough audience and hopefully get kind of some paid campaigns on there, somewhere where an advertiser would become interested in the audience, then I knew I could maybe just cover the costs of running the website at least. And then we kind of just spurred out of control, and then we just kind of added all these other extensions, which were also my gut instincts. So launching the app was my gut instinct. Launching, like, going so big on Facebook and Twitter was my gut instinct. I knew that was something that was coming up and kind of growing at the time. And to be fair, I don't know if I said this before, but I launched the site in 2012, and the UK was in a kind of deep recession. So it was probably the perfect time to launch the website, because we're kind of in 2015 now, where things are looking up now. But 2012, things were sticky at that point. People were looking to these sites to grow, and I think I grew with that wave of discontent almost, where people were trying to save money. So it kind of helped me through that.
Was that a conscious decision to do it then, or does that just like almost like perfect timing? As in,
no, it's perfect timing, nothing else.
Amazing. Because the reason why I was asking about gut is because I watched a really interesting TED talk the other day, a guy called Magnus Walker, and I mean the whole thing was he had just gone from like just throughout his life, the last 20 years, he just fallen in stuff, but it was purely based on gut and instinct, and he was just saying how how instrumental just following that gut. He didn't really know why. A lot of it went against, sort of, it's quite counterintuitive to what he was seeing around him, but he just stuck to his gut, and it really helped him. So so it's just really interesting to hear you say that as well. But it was obviously quite risky. I mean, like, are you quite, I don't know, what's your relationship with risk like? Because just starting it with knowing that you're going to be planning all this time into it, and you're not necessarily going to see a return straight away. I mean, what's your relationship with risk like?
So I realised at the start that I didn't really. So the website at the start cost about £500 to make, and then up until maybe a year and a half into the website, we were still running on like a $15 a month hosting package. So the costs really were quite low at the time. So if you've got this domain, which normally in the UK costs about £10 a year or something like that, you got the hosting for $15, and then you've got me writing the content. And that to me was the biggest cost, because I could keep the cost low enough if you don't have staff, if you don't have kind of advertising, if I knew I could kind of rely on search engines and social media just to kind of bring in free traffic. I knew I could take it to the next, just use that traffic to kind of grow the site. But in terms of risk, it was really just my own time and effort that was spent writing all this content. I was doing maybe 19, 20-hour days, like researching kind of other websites, what they were doing, what they were promoting, what the best freebies were, when they were getting released. I tried to make sure, one of my fundamental goals with the site is making sure I always have the latest content on there. That kind of goes with the site, really, goes with latest free stuff. But there you go. I have to make sure that I have the best offers on there, which seems to bring people back. And that's one of the main goals still. It's probably the best goal, the biggest goal I have at the moment is making sure we have the latest content every single day, like the best stuff, because that seems to bring in more people. As long as we stick to that, hopefully it'll carry on, really.
So, I mean, that's, the amazing content and just being consistent where you are actually, that got this huge following, which is only, it's getting more and more and more because you're delivering, on that content. Would you say that's the main thing?
Yeah, it kind of snowballs, and when you've built something quite big, I think it kind of snowballs into something else automatically, because you have to spend less. Like in the last year or two, I've had to spend a bit less effort, kind of opening doors, because kind of doors open for you when you become big. So people come and reach, rather than me going out to email someone saying, "Can I have this?" or "Can I have that?" People come to you with the products. So. And whatever they're launching, it kind of, when you get to know other people in the industry, it opens doors. So it's become easier in that respect, and it probably helps me if I was ever to launch a new product, it'd help kind of push that through into something else. So it seemed to work.
One thing I quite liked, because I was looking through your Twitter and seeing stuff, and you've been quite intentional. With a lot of the stuff when you're contacting like newspapers and magazines directly, which I found I loved it, because rather than just sitting waiting for waiting for coverage to come to you or waiting for it, you've actually been quite intentional, and you've actually found editors, you found journalists, and you've sent them a tweet being like, hey, I just had a Forbes article published about my business, do you want to cover the story? And then you actually going out there, and I love it. It's kind of almost made me think about if you don't ask, you don't get, and how you found that, because you've been quite intentional. But I think that's an amazing thing, because you've kind of taken it into your own hands and just made it happen. Has that been quite useful, successful, that sort of idea of just taking it into your own hands and just making it happen?
So that was one of the things I learned from someone else. I'm very good friends with a guy called Tom Church, who's just inspirational on like PR. He knows everything back to front. And what he made me realize is the journalists need good content to write about, because they have this kind of goal every day where you need to have good stuff. And if you can kind of reach enough people and set out so to kind of reach out to them was kind of an intentional thing, because you need them to kind of realize how good your content is, or what you're promoting is. And I knew that the book was like this new brilliant thing, but I didn't go to them with can you write about this book, because the angle to their readers just wouldn't work. And then we kind of worked out, maybe like a few weeks before that if you could create a list of the top 10 top 10 ways to live for free, that would kind of subside with the book, and it would be interesting to like a reader of the Daily Telegraph or Forbes magazine, but it also kind of like plug the book. So that was one of the biggest tips with PR, was that you shouldn't actually promote your product, you should kind of promote the content within the book and extract it and go to journalists with that. You need to think of it from the journalist's kind of eyes. Don't think of it from your own product. Like unless you're a company like Facebook or Spotify or something massive that someone cares about. With startups, it's almost impossible to get your product into a newspaper or magazine. You need to get something related to your product into there. So, make sure people do that.
Do you think is putting yourself out there? I mean, is that something that's always come naturally to you, or is that something you've had to work on? Is that are you naturally quite an introverted person or an extrovert?
No, probably a complete extrovert. I don't crave attention. I'll stay away from people normally, but when I want something done or I know I have like a goal to get somewhere, I'll go and do it.
Yeah.
I have to go at that point because you can't really rely on someone else to do it at that point. You need to just go and do it yourself. And when you want to be done right, I think you're the only person that you can normally rely on sometimes.
One thing which I think is really interesting is that, well, it's not. It was kind of interesting in the sense that I think we all humans have to spend so much sort of time and energy sort of stressing and worrying about money. Like through this whole process, realizing that it's obviously maybe you wouldn't choose to do a lot of these things. Like, you wouldn't necessarily choose to go from A to Z and do everything at the same time. But knowing that you can, if needs be, live for free, is it quite a liberating feeling? Has that given you sort of a freedom to, rather than going in every day and doing a job you hate, is that giving you sort of a freedom to actually realize you can actually follow your passion and do other stuff? Because worst case scenario, you're going to be okay. You're never going to be like living on the streets.
Yeah, so it gives you that kind of thing to rely on, where something you can fall back on. But I think I had to kind of move out of that mindset, because to try and help people to live for free, you can't kind of live in it. You have to kind of expand your horizons and kind of use all the other tools and things you have every day, because there wouldn't be enough time in the day if I was just living free and doing everything myself. I'd need to use all the other things I have around me to kind of influence people.
Yeah. And it's a bit of a detour, but like I think failure is obviously a really important bit. I know that you've spoken about failure on a couple of occasions, and like, do you have any sort of like memorable failures, and what did you learn from them? Because I think you're a big fan of just that trial and error, just almost like baptism by fire. Just try something, okay, doesn't work. Try something, doesn't work. Like, looking back, have you had any sort of like big failures which, on hindsight, you've actually learned quite a lot from?
I want to say the app launch at the start. We kind of, when I launched the app in January 2013 or something, whenever it was, we hired this other PR company who we were promised the world from, if anything. They said they'd get us into the Daily Telegraph, they'd get us into kind of the biggest newspapers, into TV shows, things like that. And we spent a lot of money doing it. And I was kind of a noob in doing this, because obviously I didn't know anything about PR. We thought that we had this amazing app. Like, people are going to love it. It's going to end up on the front page of the Daily Mirror. And how wrong were we? They sent out. They spent like a few weeks creating a press release, and we announced it to the world. And then they done everything. So I didn't actually do anything myself. They were kind of running with it themselves. And then come the launch of the app, maybe on the first day, we ended up with maybe like 400 downloads, if that, when we were expecting like 20, 30, 40,000. And we got no press release out of it. And it only kind of clicked in my head that you can't actually promote a product at that point. You need to actually promote the service as an extension of the brand. And then that's when I realized I just had to go and do it myself. And that's where all the Twitter came from. And I realized that the journalists need like a face to the content. They need a story out of it, something that's real. And yeah, that was a huge mistake. I've never spent so much money, because the site at the moment still doesn't. We don't advertise the site. We don't pay for advertising. So to spend such a big amount of money on PR, and then the one time I did spend money, all goes down the drain, because I didn't really know anything what I was doing. Yeah, it was a disaster. But in the end, it worked out all right. But yeah, first day of the app launch, not good at all.
But yeah, when you were, I think you spent like, I don't know, was it in 2011 or 2012? But you spent months and months traveling the world. I think like 26 plus countries in one trip. And this was before, I think, the launch of latest free stuff. But I think it would be just really interesting just to tell some of our listeners about it, because you spent months traveling the world, and then you also had, I think, up to 70 sites, 70 websites, niche sites, which are making money for you. For anyone who's listening, who's just basically just can't get their head around this idea, like, how is it possible to be traveling around the world and also having like websites make money for you? Can you give us a really, really brief description of just exactly what like affiliate marketing and drop shipping is? Like, how does a website make money?
So yeah, when I decided, I was probably doing this since I was maybe about 17, 18, running all these websites. And I think that was my critical time when I went traveling. I ended up with about 70 websites because you can't launch that overnight. It takes a lot of time. And then I was really just, it was all an experiment up until then. It was to see what worked. It was almost trial and error of, let me try and go into this market. Oh, I've seen something about drop shipping. Let me go and try this. It was all just an experiment, honestly. One of the sites was kind of like a free SIM cards, how to get like a free SIM card, which would probably kind of led on to latest free stuff. But it was like this basic HTML page, which was maybe just on WordPress, I mocked up within a day, where I just kind of created everything. And it was just like a few images saying, here's a free SIM card, here's a free SIM card, here's a free Vodafone SIM card, here's an O2 SIM card, grab it for free, put an affiliate link behind it, use one of the UK networks, then drove maybe like 100 people to the website through organic search, and then replicated it, done it again with like free photo printing, and then done it again for like free video rentals. And then like another site was a drop shipping. I set that up whilst I was in Singapore.
So what exactly is drop shipping? Just drop shipping. For anyone
So drop shipping is where you don't. One of my classic problems in life is I hate logistics of a problem, logistics of a site, logistics of like kind of handling products. I think it's better if the whole ecosystem of the world handles your products, and drop shipping is really your solution if you hate that. So drop shipping is where, like, a good example is probably Amazon. They have this massive logistics warehouse and delivery system, which is incredible. They can host your products for you, sell your products for you, as long as your marketing is good enough. Say you bought your products for maybe £100. You send it to Amazon, they'll charge you maybe like, or you buy your product from Amazon, so they're selling the same product for maybe like £80, and you're marketing the product for, let's say, £120. You make the difference. That's what you do. All you need to do is sell. That's a really bad example, actually. All you need to do is send the customer to the product, and then you make the difference. And then the customer just doesn't realize that they've bought the product from you because you've not actually done anything. And that's what I done with the Spy Equipment shop. So I set up this shop overnight, realized there was like a drop shipper in Hong Kong. If anyone wants to check it out, it's dealextreme.com. I had at the time, I don't know if now, but they were the biggest kind of drop shipping site at the time. And you could buy the products on a drop shipping basis. You could buy like a spy camera for like £10 on there, market to your own list or to your own customers for £15, £20, and put in the address on Deal Extreme, post the product straight to the customer, and the customer's happy, you're happy. You've just made the commission or whatever's left in between, and that's it.
It's amazing because
it's brilliant for some people.
No, I know, absolutely. Because I mean, traditionally, you think, okay, you've got a company, you need to hold stock. You need to, when somebody has an order, you've got to process the order. You've got to send it out. with these things, I mean, somebody, because I just love the idea of you in, I don't know, wherever, Timbuktu, and somebody buys the product. And then the order gets taken from somebody else, it gets processed, it gets sent off by somebody else, the payment gets taken care of, and then you just get a percentage. And so you've got this international business. Like this before the internet, this obviously would never be possible, but you could be running an international business, and you could effectively, your whole job is just to send customers that way, and then everything else is taken care of. So that basic concept allowed you to be anywhere in the world, but running an international business with clients all around the world.
And that's exactly what happened. So when I was traveling with the website, I had a website that was bigger than this dropshipping site. It was a website selling kind of HTML WordPress templates. And so the brilliant thing about kind of downloadable products was you can replicate them. You can mass sell them as much as you want, because you haven't actually got a physical product that you need to sell to someone, and that kind of emailing to someone just works brilliantly. So I set up the template store. It became one of the biggest in its niche. And then we had maybe thousands of customers coming to the website every day, and it was just downloadable scripts. So if you wanted to set up your own movie trailer site, just on your own server, we had the scripts, you download to your server and you set up your own site, and we were selling the product for maybe $15 and selling maybe like 3 or 4 a day. And it was just a bunch of kind of PHP files, and that's all. And the website was automated, like you said. The website, as soon as someone bought it, the PayPal money came to me. The downloadable product just gets released to the customer, and that's all whilst you're sleeping in Thailand or Timbuktu or wherever you are. And as long as my goal with that was just to make £100 a day, and that's what I achieved. So
it's the same.
Brilliant.
It's the same concept with something like ebooks, isn't it? Because like rather than having actual like a physical book, you could write a book like, you know, whatever, Dear Diary, you know, this is what I did today. You save it on a Word document, you upload it onto the internet, and then every time somebody buys it, there's no physical book. It's just like an attachment, and so they buy it, and so you make the product once, and then people could be buying this for, you know, 5, 10, 20 years into the future, and then you created that product once. So I mean, it's the freedom, and so the reason that was kind of a big convoluted way, but it just allows you that freedom to travel or to spend time with your family, or to go play golf or do whatever you want, and so obviously that's a very simplistic way. It's very easy to you go to these seminars, and it's very easy for people to simplify the whole process, and it seems too good to be true. But if you've got all the pieces and you put in the work, and you've got the market, then actually it's a very sustainable business, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah, it works really well then. And that's how I ended up with 70 websites. So I was just experimenting with niche to niche to niche. And I worked out what worked and what didn't. And I've probably still got those 70 sites somewhere. I don't know where they are. They're still sitting on the same. Oh, the other thing I didn't really say at the start was they were all running on a $15 a month hosting package. So 70 different websites. So the internet's incredible, honestly. There's a lot of domain fees because you have to pay 70 times of $10 a month or whatever, or $10 a year. But hosting wise, dead cheap, I would say.
So the laptop lifestyle really is possible. You can be sitting there on the beach with your laptop open, running an international business. I just love that. It's such a crazy idea. It's like it's just you couldn't even imagine that 10 to 15 years ago. But it's amazing. What do you think? What do you think are some of the sort of main? What do you think is like the main personality trait? Do you think that's helped you in life and business? Are you just determined? Do you have your blinkers on and you just make stuff happen, or is it something else, do you think?
I think it was, in the end, when I look back on everything, I'm still quite young, I would say, was actually to kind of help people. That seemed to open more doors and help me a lot more. One of the prime examples was helping people with like the meetup I run now. It seemed to open so many doors for me, and it seems to be helping other people. So I run a group on Tim Ferriss, the 4-Hour Workweek book, and it's based on that. And it shows people how they can kind of leave this 9-to-5 lifestyle. And we get 100 people a month just in the room trying to listen to an inspirational speaker about how they've done it, or someone's inspirational journey. And that seems to kind of, that idea of helping someone else, helping you, seems to have got me further, because out of that I've got business deals. It's opened doors into other advertisers. It's opened kind of new friends, if anything. It allowed me to meet phenomenally impressive, incredible people. And that seemed to help me in business and personally. That's one of the best decisions I've probably ever made. Plus, the money we make, the last event we ran, we made about £180 for charity. So there's a £3 fee on the door, and we've made it off for charity. So that's probably an added benefit that everyone wins, I'd say.
That's great. And final couple of speed round questions to finish up. Like, what does a fulfilled life mean to you?
Fulfilled life means, to me, something where you're just happy doing what you want and what you're doing, and that's it. There's nothing else around it. It's just you be happy, do what you want. You have to make sure you're happy and fulfilled.
That's great. And what is one thing our listeners can do today that will have a massive positive effect on their lives?
I would say join more meetup groups. You meet incredible people. Actually, no, I'm going to retract that. I would say visit Latest Free Stuff and order a freebie. I'm going to say that one, actually.
You can have them both. Visit Latest Free Stuff and order a freebie. And then for anyone meetup, that's meetup.com. Imagine, like, if you were interested in a topic, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you're into underwater basket weaving, if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, if you're into Spanish, learning, or like, I don't know, if you could think of something, honestly, if you go on this website, if you can think of something, there's a really good chance it will be there. Like, I don't know, you like learning about ancient battles in Egypt in 1970, like there's maybe a chance there's going to be a group out there who are also people interested in that topic. And so you go onto this website, and then there happens all over the place, and they show, it's an amazing website. I only found out about it about a year ago, and it's unbelievable. It's incredible. So yeah, if you're interested in a topic, they'll be on that website. I just realised, yeah. And are there any books or resources which have changed or had a big impact on you?
Tim Ferriss's 4 Hour Work Week. It's exactly what I'd done. It's exactly what the dream was. It was about leaving your 9 to 5 and living for 4 hours a week, and attempting this kind of dream lifestyle in most people's eyes. So heavily recommend reading it. Yeah, it's had a massive impact on my life.
Yes, and yeah, absolutely, and I can vouch for that. As in, there's the amount of like positive. If you look on Amazon, like the amount of 5-star, I think it's like 1,500 people who are just like, oh my god, this book changed my life. So yeah, a lot of people just wanting to escape like their jobs and stuff. And finally, how can people stay in touch or find out more about you?
My Twitter is probably the best way to do it. Deepak Tailor 1. I'm on Twitter. I post funny and crazy things. I post loads of resources on there, to be fair, to try and help people. Lots of business stuff, lots of personal stuff, and ways to live for free. So it's brilliant.
Amazing. Deepak, thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been absolutely loved every second of it. And I will, hopefully I'll come down to your next meetup.
Brilliant. See you then.
Thanks so much.